Hey there. Well, used to be multiple written videos would come forth each day, and lately not so much, but it's a generous season with me for video journaling. Okay, so I'm back after What If the Bad Guys Are Good Guys in Disguise thing to share what I thought I would be sharing in that video. And it has to do with Mooji and what he teaches peripherally. The video I recorded in the middle of the night. Was it only 2 nights ago? Um, I was so high from listening to him work in the Moscow satsangs for many hours and really following with heart through heart. And yet, when I turned that camera on and I began to speak, it was funny. I was feeling a little bit like a fraud, like, who am I to talk about this stuff? Mooji is so perfect for what he is, for the gifts that he brings. They're finely honed, very specific. He won't let you get him into all kinds of discussion. He won't go there. He knows what he's after. He's always in heart. That's what I would call it. And he's sensing all the time. He's sensing where the person is with whom he's speaking, where they're coming from. And he does everything to help them let go, to help them see, because it's a choice that each person has to make. We can't let someone else make our choices for us. We can't assent because we see how it works for them and say, yeah, I'll go for that. That doesn't count. I mean, it's great. It means you're willing. But no one else's work works for you. And so each one faces all of this that everyone else is facing. It's kind of funny in a way. But so often lately, well, not so often, but lately a number of times when I've seen him working with someone who you could say is pretty dense, um, who's really stuck in the mind, I keep wanting to say, Mooji, tell them to drop down out of their head. I keep thinking, tell them to go into heart. And I want to share something around that. If you can listen and learn to listen and practice listening from centered in your chest, it doesn't have to be something high or holy or anything else. Just get it, just put your finger there and press a little bit and let it keep reminding you that's where you want to put your attention. That's all you're doing is placing your attention centered in your chest. It's really just that. You just have to be persistent with it. Okay? And if you are, things can really happen. As we listen from heart, just for an example, I was watching Mooji working with a young man. He worked with him for, 30 minutes more. And throughout the entire time, this young man never left his head. And what Mooji was saying was mystifying to him. He wanted, in it very, very intensely, he wanted to wake up. He wanted to get it. But that's not enough. And sometimes knowing about this path of heart, about being able literally to just drop out of the head, can be the very thing that will help you wake up. It will shatter the old paradigm. But once you find the new paradigm, the old one is, well, not useless. It was useful back then. It'll never be useful again. Except that you have it in your bag of tools and experiences as something that gives you the ability to share and integrate with someone who's in that space. And that is so powerful. I mean, just for a being to speak and be heard, we don't know how much we yearn for this, folks. Or maybe you do. We just want to be heard. We want to know that the person listening understands on a deeper level than just something mental. The mental isn't satisfying enough anymore. From the mental mind, we can go wrong. We can be misled. We can get confused. We can tie ourselves up in quite a mess, karmically and every other way. Well, that's not really possible from the heart. I'm not saying that as soon as everyone puts their consciousness in the center of the chest, suddenly you're all going to make perfect right decisions and everything's going to go well and you're going to be basically ascended from then on. I'm not saying anything extreme here. I'm saying that's a key that will open a door for you that may have been closed up to now. It's a very important door. I guess that's what I'm saying. And so simply moving into heart and listening and watching from there can literally change someone's life. Now, there's a few assumptions here, of course. One is that the person's intentions are set to wake up, that they want to live with integrity and ethics and so on, that they're ready for all of this. Because if you're not ready and you're just walking this path because you want people to think well of you, you're not going to make it. It's a very, very challenging path, and it weeds people like that out. The price is too dear. Those willing to pay it are the ones who are really ready. And what I'm noticing about a lot of us is that we're wedded to truth. It's like truth is our spouse, and we will go anywhere, do anything, deal with anything for love of that. Okay, so I just wanted to share, when you're in heart, your perceptions shift. You can watch the same interaction, let's say, between Mooji and this young man from your head, and you can get plenty out of it. But if you can go back and watch the same thing from your heart, here's something you'll notice. Your perceptions become sensings. They become sensations almost in the greater body that you are. Remember, you're not just the physical body. You encompass everything. You contain it all, literally. And so it's almost as if Mooji and the young man exist, let's say, in your aura. Let's make it easy to envision. They're in your aura. And so you've got sensing mechanisms in operation there because that's within you. And so you have reporting back to you the energies of where both of those beings are centered. You have a sense of where the light is. Mooji will be so bright from this perspective. It may even be blinding at times. But we're looking at the young man. We're trying to be him. We're trying to gain every morsel of divine intelligence that we can from the interaction. And so the way we sense what's going on is things like it's like around his head is a bubble, a great big soap bubble kind of a thing. And it's very, very active, and all kinds of things are bouncing back and forth. And that's just where his consciousness is focused and located. And so the perceptions from heart won't come to you as thoughts so much. They'll come to you as sensings like this, gut things, more visceral things, things that are broader sensations that we're not used to using. I don't know, can we call it the sixth sense maybe? I don't know. I don't have a lot of concepts around it. I just wanted to share that. And you'll also notice when you're watching satsang with him, or probably anyone, I don't know, I mean any real light being, there are quite a number of people giving satsang that are not someone that I would want to sit with. But there are enough that are truly divinely graced and blessed that it's a cornucopia, this world that we live in now. There are so many light beings everywhere you look. It's stunning. So many of our healers are that. Many, many. These beings have such light, and they come in. There's such a desire to serve. Service becomes the life blood, the very breath, when you're a light being. And being in the healing professions is definitely a way to do that, to channel the higher energies, to bring them into service here. Anyway, you'll notice that if you look at it from heart, eyes of heart, so often what's at issue is the person who's speaking with Mooji. What is their concept of I? Who do they think they are? And that says a lot. We all have to sort through this. And I think it would pay for all of us to spend a good number of hours, I would say at least a dozen hours, with satsang. Mooji satsang or Papaji is a very good one. Gangaji is very good. Those are three of my favorites. They're readily available. Ramana Maharshi would be delirious and wonderful, but silence was his major teaching. And so the mind mostly won't sit still for that. Ah, getting high here. All right. I also wanted to draw attention to the Occupy movement, how these people are not so much operating from head. I won't say they're all operating from heart, but there's a definite shift that is really perceptible there. So maybe be in your heart. And when you listen to people and when you watch people, try to get a sense of where they're coming from, just biologically. Where are they centered in their body? Where are they coming from? And when you find another being coming from heart, it's a beautiful sensation. You know, it's love. Also, people operating from within, from something deeper than mind, can't be co-opted the way that people operating from mind can be. Now, they will shift back and forth. It's like Tim says, they don't know who they are yet, not having come into full recognition. There are a lot of great beings that have no need to incarnate. They're finished. They graduated long ago, some of them, and they're back. They're back to serve. And we're all waking up together, bit by bit, a little at a time. It's more fun this way. Come on, we'll look back on this and absolutely rejoice that each and every little thing happened just as it did. Right now, if it seems too insanely difficult for you, back out. You're too identified with the part you're playing. Set the mask down for a while, Get into nature. Get into Mooji. That's a good way to set the self aside to a great extent, because as you're listening to the master, you're absorbing the radiance. This is Ramana Maharshi was the excellent example. He was Mooji's teacher's teacher, by the way. Mooji is in that line of gurus or teachers. His silence, there were more healings and amazing things that happened to people just being in his presence. Things were resolved, teaching was given, not a word was spoken. And so this is the grace of the guru, the light. And it's not anything in particular about Ramana Maharshi or about Mooji or about me or about anyone. It's the light itself. Once we're empty enough, that light will flow through. But when we try to own it, when we try to think it's who we are and polish that apple and make it pretty and perfect and try to be good enough, it's not happening. That's a lot of these ones that they are spiritual egos giving satsang. No thanks. God bless them. In most case, the desire to serve is there. There's just too much ego, and they're thinking they're ready to do something that they're clearly not ready for. And that's a hard one. Not meaning to judge, because you'll be called by your heart to sit with whomever. And it doesn't matter if your heart calls. Don't be judging that one. Just listen to the heart and go and sit with that. And just watch. Be quiet and watch. Your inner being is trying to show you something, to teach you something. There's something to be learned there. And if the messenger be an ant, heed it, is something that a Himalayan master named El Morya once said. Anything can teach us. Everything is ensouled. Everything is divine. Everything is love made manifest. And it is that, whether we have eyes to see it or not. Okay, I've chattered on long enough. See you again soon.